Good morning students. In the last session we have completed till the mechanism of breathing. Now in this session we will see about transportation in human beings and transportation in plants. Now transportation in human beings, the main transport system in human beings is the circulatory system. With this system what happens? The blood flows from one part to another. And this circulatory system mainly includes blood, arteries, veins, capillaries and the heart. First of all, what is this blood? It is considered as a fluid connective tissue which transports food, oxygen and waste products. It consists of mainly three types of cells. First is red blood cells, which is referred to as RBC. Second, white blood cells, which is referred to as WBC, and platelets, they are known as the thrombocytes. Now, the plasma mainly transports food, water and carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste. So, this is the main function of the plasma. Now, students, you are just particular having the doubt about the what is plasma and what are this RBC, WBC and platelets. So RBC, WBC and platelets, they are included in the cellular portion and other portion of the blood is plasma. So blood is mainly divided into two portions, one is plasma and one is cellular part. So plasma transports food, water, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste. Now here the red blood cells transports oxygen. White blood cells kills harmful microbes and protects the body. Protects the body from what? That is from diseases. And platelets mainly help in clotting of blood and prevents loss of blood during injury. Means whenever you have the small kind of injury, you might have seen that after a few period of time, blood stop flowing by itself. So this process is known as clotting of blood and it is due to the platelets that are present in our body, which is also known as thrombocytes, and they are very much important. If these platelets are not present in our body, then the blood flows continuously and it cannot be prevented. So because of this presence of platelets, we can preserve the excessive blood flow from the body. Second is the arteries. They carry pure blood from heart to all parts of the body. They are thick-walled and do not have valves. Veins, they carry impure blood from all the part of body to the heart. Now students, here please note, arteries, they carry purified blood from heart to the different parts. And veins, they carry impure blood from different parts to the heart. So the difference between can be asked between arteries and veins, that differentiate between arteries and veins. So these 2 points you have to remember. Next is capillaries. They are very narrow blood vessels which connects arteries and veins together. The exchange of food, water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. between blood and cells take place through this capillaries. So I hope students this part is clear to you. That is, first one we have seen what is plasma, what are the function of the plasma, what are the function of the cellular portion of the blood, that is RBC, WBC, platelets, and what are the function of arteries, veins and capillaries. Now next is heart. Our human heart is a 4-chambered heart and the size of this heart is about closed fist. Closed fist means whenever you just closed your particular all your fingers and including thumb, whatever the size is there, that is the particular closed fist. The size of heart it is compared to as closed fist. It is a muscular organ which pumps blood to all the parts of the body. It has 4 chambers. The upper chambers are called atria or the auricles, and the lower chambers are called ventricles. Since the ventricles pump blood to the different organs, its walls are thicker than the atria. So there are 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. So total 4 chambers are there. And this auricles and ventricles, they are divided into right auricle, or you can say right atrium. Here you can see in the figure, this is right atrium, this is left atrium, this is right ventricle, and this is left ventricle. All these four chambers, they are separated from each other with the help of the septum. That is a division between auricles and ventricles, which separates auricles and ventricles. The right and the left chambers are separated by a septum. That is, we have seen by this division, all auricles and ventricles, they are separated. It prevents the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Means the septum is for prevention of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, that they do not mix with each other. So because of that, the septum, it is present between the auricles and ventricles. The atria and ventricles have valves between them to prevent blood flowing backward. Within the auricles and within the ventricles, the valves are there to prevent backward flow of blood. Backward flow means particular, whenever the blood is flowing in one direction, it do not reverse back. So the backward flow of blood is prevented by the presence of these valves. Now working of the heart, the next topic, that is also known as circulation of blood. We know, students, that in our heart there are two types of blood is flowing, that is oxygenated and deoxygenated. Now what is this oxygenated and what is this deoxygenated? Oxygenated means whenever the blood is rich with oxygen, that blood is known as oxygenated, and whenever the blood is rich in carbon dioxide, or you can say whenever the oxygen it is utilized and the remaining blood is known as deoxygenated. So here the heart structure, it is shown. Aorta, that is the main artery, is there. Here the valves are shown. This is left ventricle, left auricle, right atrium, that is the right auricle, and right ventricle. Okay, now here you can see, students, between right auricle and right ventricle, which valve is present? Tricuspid valve. And between left auricle and left ventricle, which valve is present? Mitral valve, and which is also known as bicuspid valve. So you have to remember, student, left auricle, left ventricle, bicuspid valve is present, and right auricle and right ventricle, tricuspid valve is present. Now we will see the circulation of blood. Now when the left atrium relaxes, oxygenated blood from the lungs flows into it through the pulmonary vein. When it contracts, the left ventricle expands and the blood flows into it. Now what happens? From the left auricle, the oxygenated blood from the lungs flows into it, and from left auricle it goes to the left ventricle. Then when the left ventricle muscles contract, the oxygenated blood is pumped out through the aorta to all parts of the body. Aorta we have seen in the figure, that is the main artery. So with this main artery, the oxygenated blood, it is supplied to all parts of the body. After circulating through all parts of the body, the deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium, that is right auricle. Now what happens once this oxygenated blood, it is utilized by all parts of the body? They utilize oxygen and they release the waste, and that waste mainly contains the carbon dioxide. So that kind of blood is known as deoxygenated blood, which enters to the right auricle through the vena cava. Now when this right auricle muscles contracts, it enters into the right ventricle and they expand and the blood flows into it. Then the right ventricle contracts and the blood is pumped to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is removed and oxygen is absorbed, and the oxygenated blood again enters the left auricle and process repeats. So here, students, you have to remember, first the blood, that is the oxygenated blood, goes from left auricle to the left ventricle, then from left ventricle it goes to all parts of the body through aorta. Then it goes towards the particular right auricle, that is the deoxygenated blood comes here in the right auricle through vena cava. Then it goes to the right ventricle. Then the muscles they contract and it goes to the lungs, to the pulmonary artery. Here in the lungs, the particular again the blood gets purified and again oxygenated blood again enters in the left auricle as we have mentioned in the first line. So this whole process it is repeated, and particular here this circulation it is known as double circulation. Why double circulation? Because both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood flows twice in one cycle. So that's why it is known as double circulation. Next is lymph. It is a colorless fluid present in the intercellular spaces. It is formed from plasma which escapes from the capillaries. Lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries. Drains means it opens into lymphatic capillaries which forms lymph vessels and joins into the large veins. Now generally what is the difference between the lymph and the blood? It is lymph is also the fluid, but here RBCs are absent and WBC are present. So that's why the color of lymph is white in color, whereas the color of blood is red because due to the presence of red blood cells. Lymph transports digested fats and drains excess fluids from intercellular spaces back into the fluid. It contains lymphocytes. Now what are these lymphocytes? They are known as cells of immune system which kills germs and protects the body. Now here the comparison between the hearts of mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles and fishes it is given, that how many chambers of heart are present in all this organism and which type of blood flows. Now heart in mammals, that is we have seen, and birds, they have 4 chambers, means they have 2 auricles and 2 ventricles and they are separated by a septum. This prevents mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood and provides efficient supply of oxygen. This is necessary because they need more energy to maintain their body temperature. Whereas if we see in amphibians and in reptiles, they have 3 chambered and allows some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood because they do not use energy to maintain their body temperature. The body temperature is the same as the temperature of the surrounding. Whereas in case of fishes, they have only 2 chambers and blood is oxygenated in the gills. So students, you have to remember, fishes they have 2 chambered heart, amphibians, reptiles they have 3 chambered, mammals and birds they have 4 chambered. Okay. Now transportation in plants. In plants, how the particular materials like food, water and minerals, they are been circulating. So they are been circulating with the help of conducting tissues, and these conducting tissues are nothing but they are known as permanent tissues in plant, and they are xylem and phloem. What is the main function of the xylem is to transport water and minerals from roots to all parts of the plant. It generally consists of xylem vessels and tracheates. Water and minerals enter the root by diffusion, that is from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Then due to transpiration, the suction force helps in the upward movement of water and minerals. Now here you can see the xylem, the main role is to transport the water and minerals from root to the above part. So always the direction of xylem transport is unidirection, that is from bottom towards the top. And second permanent tissue that is helpful for the transportation is in plants is phloem, which transport food from leaves to other parts of the plant. This process is called translocation. Why it is known as translocation? Because generally food is prepared in the leaf portion and it gets translocated from leaf to the other parts. The phloem consists of seed tubes and companion cells. Food from the leaves is transferred to the xylem by the energy of ATP molecules. Now students, please remember, whenever the phloem transport occurs, energy is required, and during the time of xylem transport, no energy is required. Due to osmotic pressure, water enters the phloem and helps in the transport of food. So here you can see in the figure which are the particular components of the phloem are there. Companion cells are there. Sieve plate, this is the sieve element are there. Okay, and in the xylem, the other tracheids, vessels, these are all the components of the xylem. With the help of this, the food, water, minerals all get transported with the help of xylem and phloem. So I hope students this topic is clear to you all, that is transportation in human and transportation in plants.